it's really a problem of a lack of clarity.
At the moment, it's unclear which date the budget will be, but as the government resolves its issues regarding the Senate Reform Bill, and then on top of that, the Industrial Relations Bill, then it will become clear.
At the moment, it's unclear which date the budget will be. Is that what you're saying, Mr. David Alexander, Mr. Lobbyist David Alexander? We're asking lobbyists now about what the government's doing with the new laws about early government elections and clearballing the Senate. Okay, well, it's definitely about a lack of clarity. What is this? Patchwork journalism? Are we working on a story here? Are we trying to inform the public, or are we making a quilt? Mr. David Alexander with your Anglo grin. What you just said is you don't know anything about anything, but when you figure out something about something, then it'll become more clear.
But farewells have begun. Former Resources Minister Ian Macfarlane, who didn't make it into the Turnbull ministry and tried but failed to move to the National Party, is leaving.
And I leave this place to pursue the next chapter in my life.
He and the Prime Minister are old friends.
We salute you, Ian, and we thank you for your outstanding service to Australia.
But politics is tough and complicated, and this is no simple farewell. Ian Macfarlane has had a planned job in Queensland offered by the state Labor government, thwarted.
The position needs to be filled immediately, and so I won't be eligible for the position.
Labor wants to know if the Prime Minister stopped it.
Now we're talking about Ian Macfarlane, how he got canned, and how Malcolm Turnbull, his old buddy, longtime friend, stabbed him in the back. Okay, what were we talking about to begin with? The government and the new laws that are going to allow the government to have early elections, and also disband the Senate and create an entirely new Senate with entirely new Senate members, limiting the opportunities for independent senators to get voted in. Okay, do we know anything about that story yet? No, we do not. We do not know anything about anything. But when we know something about something, we will be sure to let you know after we're finished building our quilt out of patches, bits. Hello? Hello?
Let me say, Mr. Speaker, I speak to premiers, as every Prime Minister does, regularly, and we speak confidentially on many matters.
It'll be a long night in Parliament House.
And SBS Chief Political Correspondent Catherine McGrath joins us now live from Parliament House. Catherine, how important is this vote for the government tonight?
Anton, it's a very important vote because if and when it goes through tonight or early tomorrow morning, it will change the way the Senate in Australia is elected. Now, it will go through because the government has Green support, so it has the numbers. It's really a matter of when the government calls on that vote. Now, how does it affect timing? That's an important question too. It then, as we just discussed, it allows the government to call an early election that would be a double dissolution election dissolving both houses of Parliament, meaning all the senators could be re-elected. So this bill means that when that vote happens of the Senate, that it's much more difficult for independents to be elected, and that enables the government to then make the decision on when that timing would be, Anton. So the timing issue is not related just to the legislation, it's a government decision. So the government is working through those, and as just discussed, there is a lot of questions now about whether that timing idea of bringing it early is a good one, but also the government is facing a very significant internal problem. It's over the Safe Schools program. We've been discussing that all weekend beforehand. There are now 40 MPs and senators who are calling for that Safe Schools program to be suspended.
Ask parents at a suburban Sydney high school about it.
Okay. So our attention should be completely and absolutely on the new law the government is creating for to allow early election to be called by the government in power, and which also means double dissolution of both houses, both senates, dissolving both houses, and forcing or possibly allowing the re-election of every single senator. Now that's what we should be focusing on, but now our attention is turned to a very emotional issue, which is that of the school program for educating people with same-sex parents, gay, homosexual, lesbian parents. So what is it that's actually going on here? Are we really talking about the government law, or is the government using this power that they have to make this law, because they have the Greens numbers, to threaten everybody and say, well, you better vote against this All of Us program. And if you don't vote against all of this program, we're going to vote, we're going to have an early election, and you guys are going to be out of a job. So of course everybody's going to vote for it. Now who's in power? I said it before, and I say it again: Christians, Anglicans, and Christian influences the Australian government. And what is really happening here might just be a big joke, a big rouse, just to force everybody not to vote for the All of Us programs in schools, and take them one step away from equality in marriage, which is another, step back 5 years for homosexual and lesbian people who want to get married and have equal rights in marriage within Australia. So I say again, church and state should not be in bed together.